Vicente Luque once again here in South America fighting for the UFC. You have this like you speak Portuguese, English, Spanish. You have roots in Chile, in Brazil, and living in America when you were a kid. Do you see yourself like this role for the in this position in the UFC? Like anytime they come to South America, they are going to call you and get you on the card.
Yeah, that's something I've been working on to position myself in these three markets that are really important. I think that I was blessed to be able to speak three languages and to have, three different backgrounds. I have a lot of Chilean and Brazilian heritage. I grew up in Brazil, so that's what I feel the most. But, I grew up with my grandpa that was Chilean, and my father that is Chilean, always had a lot of relationship with him, so I have that Chilean background, and I have a lot of family in the U.S. So I truly feel that I connect with all of these different markets, and whenever I can help the UFC grow and get to new markets, I'm up to it, and I'm the guy to call.
Do you think you're gonna be you're being at home here in Uruguay against an American?
I definitely think I'm going to be at home, not only because I speak Spanish and was able to connect with the people, but also we're so close, like Uruguay is so close to Brazil. I think that, any Brazilian that is in the card, they will be supporting. So I feel like, yeah, that Uruguay is going to be on my side.
You didn't get a top 10 you were hoping for, but Mike Perry is a big name in the division. Were you happy with this matchup? Like, it put you in a better position in the division, climb the ranking.
I definitely wanted, somebody in the top 15, but the welterweight division at this moment is really hard. There are people climbing up and being ranked. There are guys that are coming out of like kind of retirement. Nate Diaz was stopped and now he's going to come back. You got these other guys that only want to fight next year. So I really didn't, I saw only an option. Either I wait for the right fight, or I fight, somebody that has a big name and is gonna, bring me something positive. And I like to be active, so I chose to fight Mike Perry. I think he's the kind of guy that, has a big name, has fought big guys, and has wins over the Brazilian Cowboy that used to be a top 15. Jake Ellenberger also used to be a ranked guy. So I think in all the fights that I could choose, this is the fight that makes most sense, and it's gonna give me the most positive, positive things after a big win over him.
He's such a big name, and fans seem to love him for his style outside of the cage as well, with this trash talk and all that. And you are just the opposite of that. You're just that nice guy that never talks trash at anyone. How does that play into the fight itself? Do you think that how he acts outside the cage affects you at all going into this fight?
Not really. Especially because I know the way he is. I've watched a lot of fights, and I actually like to see, his face-offs and everything, because he's a funny guy. I think he talks trash to people that talk trash to him, but with me he has been respectful. But he's an authentic guy, he is a funny guy. He talks his mind, whatever he thinks, he will just talk it. And I think that's that's very true to who he is. And I like that, and I think this brings a different twist for this fight. People are gonna want to watch it, not only because both of us have good fighting styles and they know it's gonna be a crazy fight, but also people want to see how the face-offs is gonna be, how what he's gonna say, what he's gonna do, and I think it's all positive. He brings a lot to the table, and I think it's all good.
You're saying he hasn't talked trash about you, but so I don't think you've been checking his social media. He posted on Instagram, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, that he feels he hopes your weight cut goes terrible and you feels like shit. What are your thoughts on that?
At the same time, I think he's just speaking his mind, because what I see is like if he wants that, is because he's going through that, and I get it. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not happy being hungry and starving, but it's part of what we do, and it sucks, and we're bad about it, but I try to take it all as positive. This is my job, this is what I do, and I do it because I love to step in that cage and, fight another man. So I have fun in every part of it. It's hard. Camp is hard. Training is hard. Dieting is hard, but it's all for a good reason. We're going to step in there and fight each other and have fun that night. So I think he was more kind of just opening his heart and letting people know, I'm suffering. I hope he suffers too, and I'll let him know that I'm suffering too. But we're gonna solve it on Saturday night.
Does this long trip from Florida to Uruguay makes it even worse for you to make to make weight, or it's just okay? It's harder, but not that bad.
So this time I actually had my camp in Brazil. So it was just 3 hours and a half of flight. I flew from Brasilia to São Paulo. That's an hour and a half, and then 2 hours to Uruguay. So that made it pretty good. I didn't keep any weight. You know, sometimes long flights, they hold your weight up, and that didn't happen with me. So always going as planned. Diet is on point. Gonna make the weight no problem.
Did you train Brazil because of Fights Uruguay, or did you change for any other reason?
In reality, I'm always back and forth between Florida and Brazil. I think Serrato MMA has some things that they know how to sharpen me up. Hard Knocks has other things, and the mix-up is what makes me the best Vicente Luque. So I like to go back and forth, get a little bit from one, then a little bit from the other, so I'm never in the comfort zone. And last camp, when I fought Krantz, I trained all in Florida, so I thought this fight, I need to train in Brazil. I think it's going to be the right move. And also, it's really good that it's close to Uruguay, so I don't have to, be traveling so far.
Speaking again of you being this Mr. Nice guy and him being the trash talker, trash talkers appear to gain more in the UFC, in MMA at all, in terms of popularity, getting bigger fights, bigger paydays. Do you think that being a nice guy but being such a killer in the octagon is enough to get you to make you a draw in the UFC?
Yeah, man, I'm here to prove that point. That's exactly what I want to do. I respect the guys that the trash talk. I think that's a way to go. It has been working. It's shown that it worked, and I'm here to show the other way. I think GSP is an example of that. He was maybe the most dominant champion in my division, and he was not a trash talker. He was a gentleman and always respected every single guy he fought. So I think that I'm here to prove once again that you have the trash talking way, but you have the other way, and I'm a nice guy. I cannot be different than what I am. I cannot force myself to talk trash and to disrespect my opponent if that's not how I feel about them. I respect every single guy just for the fact that he's stepping in the cage with me. So I'm going to show people that there are two ways. You can be just, a cool guy, a family man, and get up there and follow your dream anyways.
A 6-5 winning streak and a win against a name like Mike Perry would put anyone in a title position place in the mix for a title fight in any division, but not welterweight. It's such a stacked division. Where do you think a win over him puts you in the division?
I think a win over him will guarantee me a top 10. That's what I'm looking for, and I think that going out there and dominating him in good fashion, I'm gonna guarantee myself fighting somebody in the top 10, and that's my goal for 2019. I want to be in the top 10, and from there forth, next year, try to start my run for the title.
It appears that Colby Covington is going to be next for Kamaru Usman for the title. What are your thoughts on this matchup? How do you think this title fight playing out?
I think they have similar styles. They execute it differently. I think Colby is kind of like more volume. Colby has more volume, and Kamaru has more power. So I think that's going to play out. I think Kamaru is going to get in there and kind of his power is going to overwhelm Colby, especially because both are wrestlers, really good wrestlers. But Kamaru, I think, is at a higher level, a little bit at a higher level, and he's going to get that win.